they called it backwards. It was simply backwards.
The South Jersey voting machine incident makes waves.
It was 2011, and Cynthia Zirkle and her husband Ernie were running in a local election in their hometown of Fairton, New Jersey.
Was this a big deal here?
It was. It was both a big deal, but people said, we don't trust the system. And that was sad, very sad.
How did you know you would win this election?
Because I knew 33 of the people that voted for us, and we lost 33-10. And I knew that that wasn't the case.
The results had been switched with those of their opponents.
We started calling people that we thought we knew voted for us because it was just in this district of this township, and we know everybody in this district.
Because people voted on electronic voting machines that leave no paper trail, there was no way to recount the votes.
Do you blame the electronic voting machine?
Now I blame people. And unfortunately, I think that no matter what system you come up with can be rigged.
The FBI investigating accusations Vladimir Putin and the Russians were trying to sway the election.
The system, folks, is rigged. It's a rigged, disgusting, dirty system.
The FBI says states should be on guard to protect against computer attacks that could jeopardize the integrity of their elections.
This November, millions of Americans will be voting on electronic voting machines. In 5 states, people will be casting their ballots exclusively on touch screens that leave no paper trail, as well as in individual counties in several other states.
When you have an electronic voting machine with no paper ballot, then you're completely relying on the software in the voting machine to tell you who won. And software is easily replaced in a computer, so somebody can replace it with fraudulent software that lies about who won. Now I'm going to unscrew this sheet metal panel.
That's computer scientist Andrew Appel. He knows what he's talking about because he's actually hacked the voting machines himself.
And you see, you don't have to be a computer expert to actually hack the voting machine. So I remove it simply by prying it loose from its socket with a screwdriver. If it's a really close election, then one swing state will make the difference.
In the battleground state of Pennsylvania, one of the largest counties is using the very same machine that Dr. Appel hacked.
If someone has access to a room full of machines and one computer scientist is able to change a memory chip in 7 minutes, is it possible that a room full of machines could be compromised?
Honestly, I don't know how you could do it in 7 minutes. You could maybe, once the panels were off, it may not take that long. In our case, there would be some evidence of tampering that the judge of election would obviously notice that next day.
These machines are put into a school, they're in a warehouse. Is it secure?
Each polling location is supposed to have a secure locked room in which the machine is placed. The machines themselves have a lock on them. And then we have, and I'm not going to explain it, but we do have also an additional tamper-evident safeguard.
Election officials point out that Dr. Appel's hacking methods require being able to physically access the machines. So we went to see how hard that would actually be in Mercer County, New Jersey.
This is the warehouse. We have 600 machines in here, and we have several cameras throughout. I believe there's 8 cameras throughout the building.
Could someone get in here and switch the memory chips at night without you knowing about it?
No, because the alarm would go off, the cameras would come on and record them coming in, and by the time they even tried to get into a machine, the police department would be here.
So you actually programmed this to say, this button's for Hillary Clinton, this button's gonna be for Trump?
No, that's done by Dominion.
Dominion is the company behind the machines. We reached out to them, but they didn't respond to our request for comment.
Would you prefer that this machine had a paper ballot attached to it?
I think it'd be great if voters could walk out with a piece of paper that said your votes were recorded for these candidates. And if we had the funding to make that available to voters, that would be a great thing.
The federal government actually gave states lots of funding, hundreds of millions of dollars, to improve their voting systems after the 2000 Bush-Gore election disaster in Florida. To try and prevent future problems, states moved away from paper ballots to electronic voting machines. But there was one big issue with the new machines.
It didn't have a paper trail. There was no way to verify how they voted.
Inside this Florida warehouse, there are hundreds of electronic voting machines that won't be used by the general public in November.
Do you understand why voters don't trust these things?
They said that they wanted a paper trail. They wanted to be able to see where their votes, how their votes were captured. And you can't see that on here.
So Florida purchased new machines again for the 2008 election, spending millions of dollars to give voters a verifiable paper trail.
So these are the optical
These are the
machines.
optical scan machines. When a person votes on these machines, they'll put in the paper ballot. If there's a big discrepancy, we can go into that bin, pull out the paper, check the paper again.
So why are voters in more than a dozen states still voting on paperless machines?
We don't have a national process for voting. Maybe we should.
We should be able to run elections not worrying about can we trust the results if the computers aren't hacked, but can we trust the results even if the computers might be hacked? And the kind of paper trails available through optical scan ballots give us that assurance. What's important is to get more and more of the states into technologies that are secure against hacking.
Despite concerns, election officials say they're ready for November.
We're very confident that we have taken every step possible to make these machines secure. I cannot tell you that any system is 100% secure. Even paper ballots, people make mistakes with the tabulation of them. But I'm comfortable that we have taken every step possible to make this particular machine secure.
As for the Zirkles, they ended up winning their election after a judge ordered a new vote. Still, they have little faith in our electoral process.
When you have candidates that have enormous amounts of money at their disposal, elections can be bought, and they can be bought at the local level in enough places that it will make a difference. And that's my biggest fear.
Can you trust a voting machine that's electronic with no paper trail?
No. And you can't trust the people running that kind of a system.